is a good question because in recent years, you often hear people say we're not as welcome anymore as much as before.
Still love this place, otherwise I wouldn't be here. It's and I love the spirit that's coming up again now.
2001, when I arrived, the white people were considered like gods.
Years ago, it was in a way, we were in a bubble, right? So where we were too welcome, sometimes for no good reason.
Welcome you to China.
All right, thank you. All right. Okay, so you please tell us your name, where you're from, and how long you've been in China.
I'm Joanna, I'm from Germany and I've been in China for 20 years now.
20 years in China.
Yeah.
20 years in China.
Yeah.
How do you view China after living here for 20 years?
Well, I still love this place, otherwise I wouldn't be here. It's and I love the spirit that's coming up again now. People are out and about doing things, and I'm sure that will go upwards as it did for the 17 years that I was here before COVID. So I'm really looking forward to rediscovering the entrepreneurial spirit of the Chinese people and for this country to be thriving again.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Okay, so you please tell us your name, where you're from, and how long you've been in China.
Hi, Dominic. I'm from Quebec City in Canada. I've been in China actually since '97. So yeah, so I may not be the typical guy that you interview. So I was 3 years in Taipei, and I've been in Shanghai since 2001. So actually, I've spent more time here than in Canada by now. But yeah, obviously, look, if I've been so long, definitely I like the place. And go ahead.
You are considered as a white person in China. How do you feel to be a white person in China?
Look, exactly. Well, that's a good question because in recent years, you often hear people say we're not as welcome anymore as much as before. And I don't necessarily see it this way. I think it's more years ago, it was in a way, we were in a bubble, right? So where we were too welcome, sometimes for no good reason, right? Well, nowadays, I think it's just becoming a big city and you fit in or not. But I think life is becoming a bit like it would be in any other big cities globally where you're welcome if you want to be welcome and you're not welcome if you don't want to be welcome. People don't care so much anymore, at least in Shanghai. Huh? If you go to a more rural area, I mean, it's still, right? It's still like a bit in the past where, but again, because of all the departure in the past couple of years, recently I was giving extra dishes in a Chinese restaurant in Shanghai nearby here, which I was shocked. Like 15, 20 years ago, people would give you extra dishes because you were not local. But then it disappeared. But now it's back, right? So I've got few experience recently. You feel like, wow, we're going back like 20 years ago again. But hopefully now with the opening, people will be back and we will fit in like anyone else.
Thank you so much for talking to me.
No problem. How long?
Belgium, and how long have you been in China?
From 2001. That's 22 years now.
22 years in China. Yeah. How do you feel to be a white person living in China for over 20 years?
Oh, there's a big difference. Oh, for sure. And there is even some evolution, you can say. You have to know, in 2001, when I arrived, the white people were considered like gods. And of course, because we were bringing business, and I was also bringing a lot of business, so they carried me like a god, I say. And that lasted until 2008. Very abruptly, that was the financial crisis. And because of the financial crisis, a lot of Chinese businesses, companies had to close down. They got into problems. And so they were not looking anymore for, hey, bring me business. They were looking for, hey, please help us to cooperate. And from then on, we became like colleagues. And on the same level and helping each other on the business-wise. So that has lasted a long time. And then I'm not sure when that started, maybe 2015, when the business was good everywhere in China and where the Chinese people could manage it themselves, so they didn't needed too much the white people's business and the white people's management. So that changed a lot, and then it became a little bit more difficult, I must say. But even then, if you can still give good performance to the people, if you show respect to the people, if you help the people, then they will more or less consider you as a friend, and then you can still you're still considered, you're still respected, but not like the way they did before. But now you can be a good friend. So yeah, I see that evolution from in the beginning to be a god, then afterwards, come on, be a colleague, and now we are friends. Big evolution, big change.
Big evolution, big change. So now, how were you able also to work together with the Chinese people to build this relationship that you have now?
Yeah, that worked out fantastically for me. Because actually, my career evolved in the same way. I cannot say if the attitude towards the white people came first and then my career came second, or which one came first. But yeah, in that beginning, I brought business. Afterwards, I was consultant and helped companies to restructure. And now I'm retired, and now I want to be friends with everybody. So I think that this is quite parallel. This is a very nice life I have had here in China.
Okay, and you're also married to a Chinese person, right?
Yes.
How long are you married now?
From 2017, 6 years.
When you married to your wife, how were you received by your in-laws as a white man?
Very nice. There, of course, they considered a little bit more the money than the person, and the money maybe made me be accepted and integrated very easily. But I cannot say that they had a different attitude towards me as to other son-in-laws, or how do you call it, or brothers who came into the family. I think it's a little bit the same. A little bit.
You are from Belgium, and your culture is totally different from the Chinese culture when it comes to marriage. What is one difference have you seen in this process when you got married till now?
Of course, when you marry in China, you marry with a family. You don't marry with a wife. And also in China, when you marry, the relationship between a man and wife is also completely different than in Belgium, for instance. In Belgium, you still have a lot of... You need that competition, you need that performance, you need to show, in China, it's much more important to have a more quiet life and a more, diplomatic and soft gloved approach. Yeah.
And you also run a beautiful business in Wechat. What is your business about?
Now we make chocolate. That has come. I retired, and we didn't like to travel. My wife and me didn't want to travel too much, so we tried to find another hobby. And that's when we were in Belgium. We were in the streets and we saw a lot of chocolate shops, and that's where we decided, hey, we will make some chocolate in China. But we thought to do it as a small business and just as a hobby. Yeah. But then it became, so famous. Man and wife together making chocolates. And if you know that the outside of the chocolate is my wife and the inside of the chocolate is me, and then we two people put that together. This is, for the Chinese people, this is so romantic to have those kinds of chocolates. So we became so famous. All
right, so if you want a handmade chocolate made with a taste of Belgium, then please, I'll leave the details of Mr. Filip in the description. Check out and order some chocolate from him. When you order the chocolate, say King Kwesi, and you get a discount. Yeah. All right, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.